This was something I was thinking about today when I woke up. I woke up pretty late and it's rainy day out. It's still rainy day out, so it's just kind of like a gloomy day. And I was just scrolling Instagram. Probably not the best thing to do when I wake up. That's what I was doing, and I scrolled for like an hour. And in that time, I see a lot of posts about like self help and like relationship advice and things like that. Like I don't know what the word would be for that genre of content or like whatever, but I do follow a lot of accounts like that, and I've accumulated some over time. Accounts that are just like kind of like giving you advice, just like general life conversations. They usually have to do with like relationships. And I also follow a few that are a little more like therapist oriented, like some that are like they have like programs and are like, oh, sub to my program so I can help you. And it's like, obviously, I'm not going to sub or anything like that. But in a lot of these posts, like a lot of them are really helpful. And a lot of the messages are kind of like, don't worry about other people, what they think of you. Just try to do your thing. Just those kinds of messages, right? Like to kind of encourage you to just like wake up every day and like keep going. And in that, I'm sure you're scrolling, and I'm just like, I feel like there's so many like rules, and I don't know if rules is the word, but going through this period of my life where I'm like sitting here back and forth, like, okay, I kind of want a relationship in my life. I like by relationship, I mean like even just like close friends, right? Things like that. Like I want connection, whether it's romantic or platonic. I want those things, but I'm also trying to balance like, okay, but I should learn how to like sit with myself and be myself. Like I shouldn't have to depend on like a relationship or someone in my life to kind of like fill that void that's in my heart. And I understand that really clearly. Like I understand like you shouldn't go through life relying or on people being like codependent. Like I need this from you. I need specifically you in my life to be the solution to all of my issues. And like I understand that. And so like a lot of these accounts, we're talking about like anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, like attachment style, like stuff like that. And like again, I understand it, and I understand that like maybe there is some kind of like childhood wound, as they like to say, that I have. And it's like that's why like I have this desire to, this craving to be loved. And it's like, sure, I understand the like I don't need to have someone in my life to validate the fact that I'm worthy of love and I'm worthy of just anything. I get that. But I also hate that like throughout all of these posts I've scrolled through and I've seen, it almost makes me feel like there's something wrong with me for wanting a relationship in my life. And this is something I have to wrestle with, because it's always this like love yourself before someone loves you. And I get that. But where do you draw the line? Because if all you're ever doing is working on yourself, trying to fix yourself, go to therapy, right? Heal your inner child, right? Those things. If that's all you're ever doing, I feel like you stop being human and you start just being like a project that needs to be worked on. And I don't really get that. Like I don't know how to manage that, because again, all of the advice you see is XYZ, right? Like, work on yourself, right? Like eat better, go to the gym, like therapy, journal, meditate, like those things, right? Try to really tackle the like desire that you have to be loved and to have a connection, because we're trying to avoid codependency. Again, great. And I love, this kind of encouragement to focus on yourself, to work on yourself. I think that's great. I think self-care is great. I think that's all great. In fact, it's something I need to work on and get better at, is like being okay with like being like, what, today I'm doing this for me, and not feeling guilt about it. Again, great. But like I feel like there's still like a spectrum here of like codependency and full independence, that like we cannot go on either extreme. And I think we live in a society, and like in our culture, not just with like kind of social media trends, but also like the capitalistic society we live in, that encourages and fosters this like individualistic mentality of like everything's for you. And it's so I'm careful when I say the word selfish, but I think some people do take it selfishly, because connection is not a selfish thing. If the goal here is human connection, then at some point you have to let go of the like I'm this imperfect person and I need to just, focus myself and lock in. It's like I don't personally see how the end goal there is human connection. And maybe if the goal isn't human connection, you're like, I'm just doing these things for me, then it's different. But if the idea is that you are only lovable and worthy of love, once you've found that within yourself and done all of these things for you, I just simply don't agree with that. Like, I think it's human to want connection. I think it's okay to want that. And I don't want to keep depriving myself of that and convincing myself there's something wrong with me. And I want there to be like a balance to be found between, like I said, independency, codependency, like meet somewhere in the middle and be like, okay, I can do this and I can work on myself. But that doesn't mean that I'm just like not lovable in the state that I'm in. And that's hard though, because then on the other side of this, the flip side is like when it comes to finding connection, a lot of people then have that mentality of like this person that I'm seeing, even though I like them and I care for them, they have some kind of flaw or something that's wrong with them. And then therefore this is never going to work. I don't think that's fair either. And so I just worry when we sit here and we tell people like you have to do this, you have to work on yourself, you have to do blah 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 before you can be in a relationship, before a relationship could work for you. I think it's really dangerous because now we have this culture where everyone's super hyper vigilant of like, if you have something moderately wrong with you, you're not able to be in a relationship. And again, this is case by case. I'm not talking like, oh, this person's an abuser or like something really extreme, like a really extreme red flag. Like, I'm not saying just ignore those. And like, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying like, if you look at someone and are just like, you're making 100K and I wish you were making 110K, or just like even like character flaws, like, oh, like, sometimes you can be a little rude. Like, I don't know, like things like that. It's like you have to look at the person and be like, are you a kind person? Are you a good person? Because I think good, kind people can do bad things and say bad things and whatnot. So it's like, I don't know. I worry. I also don't want to say this in a way that's like justifying like poor character traits, if that makes sense. Because again, I'm not saying that you can just be the worst person ever and still expect something out of it. But I also look at myself when I think about my place in trying to find a relationship. And I'm like, I don't want to set myself up for thinking that I need to be perfect for someone to love me because that's just not fair. It's just simply not fair. I don't know where to go from that because I know I'm not a perfect person. And I feel like I've had a lot of experiences in my life where I'm kind of told or shown that like I don't deserve the love because I wasn't perfect in some way. And that sucks because usually these people that show me that are the ones themselves that are also imperfect and make mistakes and do things wrong, and then I'll let it slide because I'm willing to look at someone and say, well, I still see the good in you, I still think you're a good person, even though you maybe did something wrong or you hurt me or whatever. I'm willing to forget and I'm willing to forgive, but I think a lot of people aren't willing to do the same. And it's like, that's how a relationship has to work. Like you have to, for a long-term relationship, if you want something that really sustains itself, like you have to be willing to accept that like you and the person you're with are going to mess up and you're going to fuck up. You're going to do something wrong. There's no if or but. You're going to do something wrong and that's fine. And I want to see that acceptance. I want to see a culture where people are compassionate and empathetic to others and also themselves, to be like, I don't have to be perfect, you don't have to be perfect, let's just try to do our best. But yeah, I worry from scrolling a lot and seeing posts and conversations where it's like, I worry that that's the new like expectation.